This activity is called Sally the Servant, and it's going to give your kids several practical examples of ways that they can serve others throughout the week. Your kids are going to listen to a story about a girl named Sally the Servant and hopefully learn something from it. Do the activity something like this. All right, how many of you guys remember what we were talking about in our Bible story today? What was our Bible story today? The girl that came in and did what? She washed Jesus' feet, right? What's our main point today? I worship God when I serve others, okay? An interesting thing that Jesus said after the woman washed his feet. He looked around at the guys who were there, who were all looking at this woman. They're kind of offended that who is this girl to come in here and do this? But what did Jesus say to all of them? Was he happy with them? No, not really. Was he happy with her? What did he say to the men? They had not, exactly. Obviously, there was a need. Jesus came into their house. He had dirty feet, which it was customary back in that time to wash people's feet once they got into your home. They hadn't even done that. So he's sitting there talking with them. In comes this woman. She washes his feet with her own tears and wipes his feet off with her own hair. They're looking at her like, what is she doing? But Jesus saw it as something pretty cool, didn't he? He said, here, she saw a need and she took care of it. All right, well, that's very important for us to learn. So I've got a story. It's about a girl named Sally the Servant. And what I'm going to do is when I get to a point in the story, I'm going to ask a question. How does Sally see? When I say that, I want you to say, Sally sees with God's eyes. Okay? Sally sees, and at the end of the story, I'm going to explain to you what exactly that means if you haven't figured it out already. Okay? All right, here it is. First part of the story. Sally was excited when she woke up on Monday. Her mom had promised her a special breakfast, French toast. She got dressed and she ran downstairs quickly. When she got there, her mom was holding Emily, her baby sister. Emily was crying, and her mom looked very sad. Oh, Sally, she said, I'm so sorry. Emily had a terrible night because of her teeth. She's fussy and sad. I'm not going to be able to make your French toast today. Disappointed. Can you get yourself some cereal? It's okay, Mom, said Sally. I can make my own cereal. But can I also get something to help Emily? How does Sally see? Sally sees with God's eyes, all right? Thank you, Sally. Yes, please, said her mom. Would you also get her teething ring out of the freezer? Okay? Sally dropped off April's homework on the way home from school. As she left April's house, Sally noted Mrs. Greeley struggling with a big trash bag. Miss Greeley, can I help you? How does Sally see? Sally sees with God's eyes. Oh, thank you, my dear. My granddaughters were here last night and we had a little tea party. I guess we made more of a mess than I thought. Sally smiled. That must have been nice, she said. Yes, dear, it was, said Mrs. Greeley. I don't get to see them very often, but when I do, I always have the best time. As Sally walked inside her house, she thought of all the people she had helped that day. Wow, God, thank you for all the times I got to serve people. It wasn't always fun, but I could always see what you wanted me to do. Thank you. All right, so how did Sally see? Sally saw with God's eyes. Okay, now, what do you think that means? Sally saw with God's eyes. Because we could say the same thing. Bonnie saw with God's eyes, or Sam saw with God's eyes. What do you think that means? Bonnie? Yes. God, what does the Bible say God wants us to do? Does he want us to be selfish and only think of ourselves? No, he wants us, wants us to think of others and to serve them. So when God looks down on our earth, or he sees things, do you think the way he sees things, do you think he sees needs that people might have? And he goes, boy, I wish that Bonnie would see the way I see, so Bonnie could go and help the lady that needs to get across the street, or help our mom when she really needs a lot of help, okay? So this week I want you to think about that. Think about how Sally saw and how God wants us to see. God sees the whole world as a big place where we can do lots and lots of service. Oftentimes we look at the world as a place that we can be selfish. But let's not do that this week. Let's try and look at the world the way that God sees it, which is always looking for an opportunity to serve someone else. Okay?